Hey folks, Curious UK here. So one thing I always often hear flat earthers asking for is a model of the spherical earth that spins without and is wet without a container. Now I've often referred to something like a Kugal ball, especially like the one that's in, I think it's in Pennsylvania, and they call it the Grand Kugal, and it's like a massive huge like model of the earth that's made out of granite that spins and is wet. And it actually spins faster than how fast the Earth spins. But that doesn't seem to be enough for flat earthers. They deny that, even though it's a smooth granite giant ball that spins and stays wet, and in fact is a model of the Earth. And there's actually a little moon that's about scale-wise not too far from it. But I digress. So here again, I'm going to have a video here of a model maker that does this for a hobby, and he's going to give you a request, a model of the earth that is going to spin and is wet. Now please show me a scale accurate model of the flat earth that does the same thing.
And the subject of today's video is flat earth people asking for a globe model of a spinning ball that holds water without a container. Can't happen. Well, that's what I'm going to have a stab at. Now, the reason why I brought this one up, I was watching a video of Professor Dave just the other day, and he was invited onto a podcast, and he was supposed to be having a discussion which went south very, very quickly with some rapper who is part of the flat earth movement. And this rapper fella asked Professor Dave to provide exactly that. I am not in any way, shape or form dissing Professor Dave. He is educated to a far higher standard than me. He is a really clever bloke. He knows his stuff, okay? And he certainly doesn't need somebody like me to be helping him out. However, as a model maker, when he came back with the answer of saying coat a tennis ball in water, as soon as those words came out of his mouth, I could tell it was the wrong answer. It's the wrong material, it's a cheat. We all know that fabric soaks up water, a tennis ball is coated in fabric. It was the wrong example to use. So I'm going to go with a different approach. And to be perfectly honest, as soon as Professor Dave said those words and I thought he's got that wrong, the answer just popped up in my mind, and I don't understand why. Because as far as I can tell, it's the kind of answer that, you know, a bright 4-year-old could give. Maybe that's the kind of mentality that I have. Certainly the wife reckons I'm no more advanced than a toddler, but let's not go down there. If you think about it, common ground for both Team Globe and Team Flat Earth is the surface that we live on. We live on a rock. Parts of it are covered in water, parts of it are covered in sand or dirt or things like that, but you dig down deep enough, you hit rock. We live on a rock. So to make a globe model, maybe a rock is the ideal starting point. Now, as a model maker, if I am doing a rock formation or anything like that, I can certainly tell you that the ideal material to use for that rock formation is, well, rock. The only reason we don't use rock in our models is that, one, it's hellishly difficult to shape or work with to start off with, and your model would be really, really heavy. That's why we go for other materials. But for the purposes of this model, we're going to go for a rock. Alright, so here is our stone. Now, my apologies if it is not perfectly round, but it does at least have nice smooth shapes, and it is not container-like in any way, shape or form. Could I have made it round? Well, no, not really. I did say that this stuff was an absolute pain to try and shape, but it should serve the purposes. Now, I did take a measurement. I'll show you that right now. It is 8 centimeters or 80 millimeters. So, just for purposes of scale, from one side to the other on this Earth model. 80 millimeters equals 12,000 miles. We'll remember that when we start talking about scale later on. What else have I got? I've got a tray, empty, and a jug of water. Take a sip, prove it's not anything silly like a superfluid. Okay, I mean, I suppose it could be vodka or gin, in which case, go me. But it's not, it's water. It's holding water, it's wet. I can see it. Bottom's wet, sides are wet. That's holding water. Water on a bowl. Now, just talking about scale, we've said that 80 millimeters is equal to 12,000 miles. Divide by one by the other and we get the length of 1 mile, and that is 0.00666 recurring millimeters, or 6.66 recurring microns. Just to give you an idea on scale, a single droplet of mist or fog is around about 10 microns. So if that is covered by just a single drop of mist, the depth of the water on there is 1.5 miles. If it's covered by 2, then it's 3 miles, and the average depth of oceans on Earth is 2.3 miles. That is an ocean covered world. Oh, of course, you guys wanted a spinning ball. Hang on 1 second. Oh, try that again. Still wet. Now, you're going to start saying things like, yeah, well, it's not spinning at the right speed. To scale, that was what? 2 revolutions per second? I don't know, I wasn't timing it. Something like that. Looked about right. 2 revolutions per second, and bearing in mind that the globe rotates once every 24 hours, 2 revolutions per second times by 60 seconds times by 60 minutes in an hour times by 24 hours in a day times by 1037 miles per hour, which is the speed at the farthest point out on the equator. That means to scale, this has just been spinning at 179,193,600 miles per hour. And it's still wet. Just to put that into perspective, the speed of light, 670,616,629 miles per hour. At the equator, this little model has just hit round about 1/4 of light speed. Still wet. We good with that model? And can I go back?
And there you have it, folks. A scale model made out of the right material, in fact, of the Earth spinning far faster than actually the Earth actually does spin, as the Earth only does 1 revolution in 24 hours, which equals to be about, because rotation isn't measured in miles, is measured in RPM, because rotations per minute, is 0.000069 RPM. That's how you measure rotations, not in miles.
And the way, all those rumors on the internet are fake. I'm not flat. I'm not hollow on the inside, and there's